Hi everyone, I wanted to show you a doll I repainted recently. I decided to do one on the theme of like an apocalypse or post-apocalyptic type theme. So first of all, I had to use a craft knife to trim off her mouth just to flatten it out to make it look more like a mask. Then I covered the area around her mouth and nose with some clay and left that to dry overnight and painted it black. Once that was dry, I then painted a white skull and crossbones on. Again, I'm just using acrylic paint here, and I just did a very simplified version because of obviously how tiny it is. And before I made the mask, I already painted that left eye, and then it's just a case of touching up the paintwork and tweaking it, and then that's the face pretty much done. I wanted to keep the face nice and easy, and all I did was drew the eye with a pencil and then went over it with acrylic paint, and that was it. Here I'm just tweaking some of the colours a bit and just touching bits up. I just used brown for the eyes, little dot of white in the middle for the highlight, black in the centre obviously for the pupil, little bit of white at the bottom of the whites of the eye, and then used a flesh colour that closely matched her skin colour in a slightly darker shade just to do the shadows in the inner corner of the eye near the nose. Then it was just a case of using different colours and smudging I smudged little bits on her face and created it so it looked like there was like sort of smudge marks around the mask. I wanted it to look like she's wore this mask for like doing like quite a long time, or she's been out scavenging, so she's all covered in like dust and stuff and debris. And as you can see here, I'm just using the smallest brush I've got, and I'm just touching up the eyelashes area and touching up around the eyes. I did 2 coats in the end. This is me doing the second coat, so I'd already done the first coat by the time I started filming, just for speed's sake. No, I didn't paint the other eye. A, because I knew I was going to cover it with hair anyway, and B, I couldn't be bothered. But the main reason was because I knew I was going to cover that other eye with hair. So I didn't really need to, and also that gave me somewhere on the doll's head that I could glue the hair to hold it in position. Then I just touched up around her face. This is a doll that I got from the car boot that had biro scribbled on her head, so there wasn't really anything I could do with it. I couldn't get the biro off, so I didn't keep her as the doll she was. Instead I chose to repaint her. So I used a bit of brown to mark where I would put the little scratches, and then went over those scratches with a little bit of red acrylic paint just to make them look a bit more like scratches. And then it was time to make the outfit while the face dried. I haven't varnished the face or anything, by the way. Literally all I'm going to do is use some gloss varnish on the eye, and that's it. Maybe on the mask, I'm not sure yet. I don't tend to worry too much about varnishing the dolls because I do tend to repaint them quite often, so in case I change my mind, I don't tend to bother revarnishing them. So here I'm just doing the leggings in the simplest way possible. I didn't want to fiddle about too much with sewing on the leggings because I knew you won't be able to see the leggings when the doll's completed, so it was pointless. So instead I chose to just make them roughly and then glue them into position. This just saves me a lot of time later on. And also I didn't make the leggings perfect because obviously she's meant to look like an apocalypse survivor, so her clothes aren't going to be perfect. They're going to be like getting worn out and stuff, or they're going to be clothes that she's found and used for her own purposes. Then I had these shoes. I don't know what doll these are off, I've no clue, but they fit a Bratz doll, but they're a bit loose. and I like them because they're smaller than the standard size Bratz doll shoes, because I didn't want her to have Bratz doll shoes because A, I haven't got any that she could have, and B, even if I did, I didn't want to waste them on her because I knew I'd be painting them to make them look mucky and stuff. I'd rather keep like my nice shoes for the dolls that I'm keeping in my collection. Then I cut out this T-shape, which is the standard shape that I use when I'm making t-shirts and hoodies for the dolls. And I did sew this because this will be seen more than the leggings, so I did stitch this with needle and thread. You can do it on a sewing machine. I find it's faster to actually physically do the stitches, but it can be fiddly with stuff this size. So 9 times out of 10 I just hand stitch doll clothes if I'm making them. And normally I go over each seam twice. In this case I only did it once because I knew if there was any problems I'd just glue seams together. But normally I'd go over the area I've sewn twice to make sure it's nice and secure. And as you can see, I'm just using little stitches, just little backwards and forward stitches, and that's how I sew most of the clothes that I make from, because I tend to make leggings and t-shirts for the dolls, for the ones who haven't got any clothes left. It's what I do when I haven't got any of their clothes left in my bits and bobs box. All I seem to have randomly at the minute for some reason is jackets and the odd skirt, so I was really low on clothing. But I knew for this one I wanted her all in black and wanted to basically have a t-shirt, like a long sleeve t-shirt on, and leggings. Then I put this over the top, and the reason I didn't bother to sew up the sleeves is this saves me to keep taking the, it was to save me keep taking the head on and off, but also I can glue the sleeves into position and make them a better fit, so that they would fit around the arms a little bit better. Because sometimes when I sew, and also when I sew the tops for the Bratz dolls, I find it ever so fiddly to turn the sleeves back the right way round, so I just decided to glue them. And then I've got this little backpack. This is from it's one of the 2015 Chloe's. I don't use it for the Chloe, but I like the look of it, and I knew if it had like a wash of brown over it, it would look like quite a nice old tatty backpack. I don't tend to display my dolls with their accessories. I like to reuse the accessories to create my own things. So I added a layer of brown paint with a little bit of black in to make the backpack look dirty. Then I cut the material at the bottom of the top to make it look tatty. Added some brown for mud stains and splashes. Added a bit of green here and there as well, just to make it look like she's been busy having a day foraging. Bit of red here and there to make it look like she's a bit bumped from digging around in rubble or whatever to look for food. And that's my Apocalypse Chloe. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.